Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Monday Night Sports Talk. We got a lead joining in soon. Don't you guys worry. But we got a special guest in today's episode, and it is Ryan from Jets Talk. What is good, Ryan?
What's good, boys? Thanks for having me on.
Of course, we are in the midst of the Jets free agency, and everything's going crazy. Actually, breaking news, the Jets finally make their first signing, which is former linebacker for the Detroit Lions, Jarrad Davis, to a one-year, $7 million deal. So we'll get into that. But, Jack, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, man. I've been looking forward to this all day. It's kind of been a crazy day, but pretty uneventful as far as the Jets world goes. So who knows, man? Maybe on the next hour we'll have some more breaking news. And I don't know, man. Let's just have some fun.
Facts, man. Right now I'm actually tweeting about the breaking news because this just happened 2 minutes ago. So the Jets just got their first free agent signing, and that's Jarrad Davis. And he was a former Detroit Lion. And this is exactly what I expected from the Jets to do. Their first signing of the free agency is going to be somebody that nobody expected. It's going to be a one-year deal. It's going to be like, yo, we wanted Joe Thuney. We wanted this guy. We wanted Kenny Galladay. We wanted Juju. We wanted da-da-da. And I guarantee it, because if you guys remember last year, our first signing was George Fant. And I remember Jets Twitter was like, yo, like, that's what we waited for? George Fant? Like, what's going on here? So, Ryan, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on this. So what are your thoughts on the Jets landing their first free agent signing in Jarrad Davis?
So definitely off the radar. Did not see this one coming. I figured we'd go after a linebacker just because we didn't know what was going to happen with CJ Mosley.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we'd retain some of our own guys. Hewitt, I thought would hang around. I honestly did not know anything about Jarrad Davis, so I started looking him up as we were, starting the intro. I literally, as we were going live, this thing breaks. So Pro Football Focus has him as a 62 overall from this past year. Looks like he had 392 snaps, played middle linebacker, 2 forced fumbles, 13 assists, 30 solo tackles. Looks like he only played in 14 games, started 4 is what it looks like from Pro Football Reference. So I don't know. I have to watch some tape and see how this guy plays.
Not the sexiest signing of all time is what you're saying.
No. This is the white bread signing. Like, it's not no flavor. It's very vanilla.
Yeah. So it looks like he is a 26-year-old. So he's young. He's got some upside, and he's going to be someone that's going to fill in the role at that depth spot for the inside linebacker. We know how much problems we've had in terms of injuries. CJ Mosley is a big question mark. Who the hell is going to be playing inside linebacker, and is CJ Mosley going to be the guy? Because we signed him 2 years ago to this lucrative deal where we thought he was going to be the future in terms of the inside linebacker position. He's played a total of 3 quarters. So this is somebody that is going to come in here and provide depth. We signed a similar contract last year to Patrick Onawaso, and he did not step foot on the field. So this is a guy that, Jets fans should not be jumping the joy. We're not going to be saying we're Super Bowl champions now, but I expected this. I expected the Jets go out there and get the tier 3, tier 4, even tier 2 guys at first, because the Jets are going to be smart with their money. We see what the New England Patriots are doing, which is absolutely insane. They are emptying their bank. All the stimulus checks is going towards Matthew Judon. They got Jonnu Smith. A lot of players. So, Ryan, I want to hear your thoughts on the Patriots so far in this free agency, because they are active.
This offseason is very uncharacteristic for them across the board. They who'd they just trade for that they just they wound up trading up in 3 different rounds, the guy from the Texans. So they're trading up in the draft. They're signing a bunch of players at the first, open the gates moment. It's interesting. I think they're going to be harder to play this year than last year. I think they're getting all their guys back that opted out. Specifically Chung and Hightower. And then you have these signings. Jonnu Smith is not someone that I was really looking for the Jets to sign, because I would like to see us roll with Herndon for a year and kind of see how that plays out. But I don't really want him there, per se. The D tackle, I don't really know a whole heck of a lot.
Breaking news, Joe Thuney to the Chiefs.
Oh, motherfucker.
What?
Sorry. Damn it.
I think, are people in the chat? Yeah, what?
Really?
How
Joe
do
Thuney
they
to
even
the
afford that, bro?
A 5-year deal to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dude, no way, man. I said the other day that's the only guy I would be genuinely upset if we didn't sign. Here I am, man. I'm genuinely upset. I'm
Damn.
genuinely upset right now. To the Chiefs as well. I thought like the Chiefs are going to be screwed. How are they affording him?
How much did they say what the deal
5
was?
years, but I don't know the number yet. 5-year deal.
Damn.
Oh, that sucks, man.
No.
Dude, that really sucks. That really
Yeah, it's not
sucks.
fun.
At least he's not back with the Patriots. I don't know. I'm trying to make this some type of positive, but I'm pissed right now. I really thought he was going to be a
Nah,
beast with
there's
Mackay.
no-
I felt like it was
there's
going to
no,
be happening.
There's no positive spin on this one, man.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right,
not-
guys. The inside
Really
line, the interior offensive line position is getting very thin. What do we do now?
I think we try to go after Lindsley. We don't get him. I think we draft someone at 23. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I really want to draft someone at 23 anyway. I was picturing somebody playing opposite of Thuney on the other guard spot. But yeah, dude, that's a low blow. I feel defeated right now.
Oh, we got
That
V-Man $5
sucks.
donation. Thank you, brother. To quote the Rolling Stone song, I'm waiting. Oh yeah, waiting for someone to come out somewhere. Facts, V-Man.
Thank
All
you,
of us are
V-Man.
like that. Appreciate that, V-Man. Appreciate that. But we're all waiting. I don't understand how did the Chiefs get cap space to do that in the first place is my question.
I don't know. They just let go of both their tackles, didn't they?
Yeah, I guess that was their plan all along.
It's like, wait, you just lost the Super Bowl because you lost both tackles, and now you get rid of both of them? Like that seems
5 years, $80 million.
Really,
Dude, how are they pulling that out? Like
5 years.
Wow.
What does that work out to be? Is that 15 million a year? Would be 75.
It's a 5-year, $80 million deal, while the Jets
16 and a
just
half, 17
signed
million.
Jarrad Davis.
I wonder what that would have cost us, because you'd have to imagine 5 years, 16 million a year for Thuney is probably him taking a discount to go to the Chiefs.
100%.
Like if that's the Jets, you're probably talking 17, 18 million dollars. And that's creeping up on territory I don't think Douglas was going to touch.
Yeah, what do you get? Like 15, 16? I think he ended up 16 million.
Yeah, I think 80 million is 16.
All right, we got Ali joining in. What's good, Ali? We can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, I think you're muted, my man.
Want to hear your initial reactions to Joe Thuney not signing with the Jets? Oh, man. If you guys are new to the stream, we got 93 lovely Jets fans in here during the Jets free agency buzz. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Yeah, we can hear you, Ali. And make sure you subscribe to Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7 if you guys are not already. That is down below in the description. And again, if you guys are new to the stream, please make sure you smash that thumbs up button if you guys are enjoying our live stream. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to be live for a long time. And hopefully we get some breaking news for the New York Jets in terms of free agency. It's been a little slow. So we got 20 likes with 94 people watching. Run that up if you're confident in Joe Douglas, because I know I am. At least I hope. So, Ali, what's your thoughts of all this?
I just got the news, Joe Thuney. I was sitting on my chair getting ready for the stream, like right now, sitting down. I saw it, my phone just blast, and I'm just like, God damn it, man. I mean, it sucks, man. That's the number one guy that we all wanted. We wanted to solidify that line, and we lost him. And it's to the Chiefs, and who can blame him? It's the Chiefs. He's gonna go try to win another ring next year. So, like, I mean, it sucks, whatever. But there's a lot of guys still on the market. There's a lot of guys that the Jets could improve, but this one hurts. This one definitely hurts.
It does hurt, guys. It really does, because I felt like if Joe Douglas is going to open up the bank on a player, this is the exact type of guy. And right now, I do not see him open up the bank. And listen, I did not expect him to open up the bank. I really didn't. If you listen to his press conference last week, he talked to the press, and he said, we are going to have the same approach. We want to build this team through the draft. We're going to use free agency to plug in the holes, but we're not going to overspend. Just because we have all this cap space does not mean we want to go out there and sign the top tier free agents. You know, maybe one or two of them be smart, but he's not going to go out there and sign everybody. That's why I felt like, even though I'm very impatient and I want to get some news, I don't really expect Joe Douglas to overspend on players. He's not going to get into bidding wars, because he does not want to pay for players that are just, because we're not winning now, you know, as hard as it is. I mean, it's hard to swallow the truth, but this team is really far off from becoming a Super Bowl contender. You know, that's the end result here. Why are we Jets fans? We want to win a Super Bowl. You know, we're not winning the Super Bowl next year unless something crazy happens, obviously. So that's Joe Douglas's mindset. I feel like how he's going to go throughout this free agency, and he's going to find some players and find value for 1 year, 2 year cheap deals, fill out the roster, and then tackle the draft, because he wants to build this thing through the draft. And that's how you want to do it if you want to build a sustainable roster for the future. And yes, I understand Jets fans are upset. We need to go out there and sign the top tier guys. We need Juju. We need a Kenny Golladay. We need a Joe Thuney. And that's what we're accustomed to every year. You know, when we had Mike McCagnon, we had all this money. And what did Mike McCagnon do with the money? He signed Tremaine Johnson. Crazy deal. We all know how that ended up. We signed Le'Veon Bell. Crazy deal. We all know how that ended up. CJ Mosley, richest middle linebacker in the NFL when we signed him. And we know how that is right now. We played a total of 3 quarters. So Joe Douglas is going to be smart. He's not going to go out there and do what the previous Jets GMs has done and pay a lot of money for some players. But that's no excuse for him to not go get some players in free agency like talent. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's really where I think Joe Douglas's mindset is. Do you want to add anything on that to Ryan?
Yeah, you know, I wasn't really thinking he was going to spend a crazy ton of money. Thuney was the one I really thought he was going after.
Yeah, me too.
When you see 5 years, $16 million a year, that feels, especially to the Chiefs, like he's going to the Chiefs, winning organization, was in the Super Bowl the last 2 years. That to me is a discounted price, I think. I think the price, if you're coming to the Jets, is going to be a lot higher. I think it's going to be $17, $18 million a year. And that's where it starts creeping up, where it's too high. And I'm okay with him walking away at that point. I like building through the draft. There's a lot of really good interior offensive linemen in this draft. Wyatt Davis is a popular one everyone's throwing around. You know, I'd like to see us go after someone probably at 23, 34 at the latest, I think, for those like interior offensive linemen. As far as like other options in free agency, no one's really signed that I was really bummed about other than Thuney. I know there's a lot of people wanting Golladay. I'm not even like super crazy if we get him. I'm more like excited about the edge rushers, I think, at this point. I really like Ngakoue a lot. I really like Hendrickson a lot. I would be pumped if we got either one of those guys by the end of the day or by the end of tomorrow or whatever. Those are the 2 guys I'm probably looking at this point, even with Lindsley still out there.
We have some breaking news that Ali just quote tweeted. Ali, I'll let you say it.
So the Jets have been receiving trade calls for CJ Mosley. That's reported from Tom Pelissero from NFL Network. I mean, whoever trades for him got to look at his contract. His contract is brutal. I mean, if they really think CJ Mosley can play well, I mean, he hasn't played football in 2 years, and like competitive football. So I don't know how that will work out. But if the Jets could get some type of deal out of him, I mean, trade him. But I do think he could revive his career with Salah in this defense. I really do. I want him to be here. Just give him an actual shot here. And we'll see what happens. But if the deal comes around, you know, get it done.
Yeah, send him to the Texans for Deshaun, right?
That's a starting defensive player, right?
Yeah, right. I want to ask Ryan a quick question, because somebody in the chat says that he's loving the Darnold jersey you're wearing. Are you advocating to keep Sam Darnold?
No, I keep wearing my Sheldon Richardson jersey, and like I've had a Jamal Adams jersey, and that now says impeached on the back of it. So like, I don't have any like current Jet jerseys, and I'm afraid to like pull the trigger on a new one. And this is like one that I would support us holding on to Sam if certain things fell the way I don't want them to fall. But I still love Sam. I love Sam. But I'm fully on board the Deshaun Watson or Zach Wilson train.
No, I'm right there with you. I unfortunately have 2 Sam Darnold jerseys, the same one you're wearing, and then I got the New Jersey version of it. The new. So yeah, man, I'm right there with you. But I needed to ask you that because we still have no idea what the hell's happening with our quarterback position. So this is a crazy news. I mean, I did not expect CJ Mosley to be getting trade interest. If the Jets move on from him, I mean, we just signed Jarrad Davis, who is going to be an inside linebacker. So, Ali, we didn't hear your thoughts. We got the first official breaking news that the Jets have signed somebody. Ryan, Jack, and myself, we've honestly never heard of him until we signed him. I'm assuming you're on the same page. So do you want to give us any insight on that signing?
Yeah. One question. Do you guys hear me? A lot of people on the comments section saying they can't hear me.
I think we hear you good.
Yeah,
I think you're just a little lower. If you could raise the volume of your mic a little bit.
yeah, I can still hear you,
That's what
but
they're
it's
saying.
definitely a little lower than Jack and Richie.
Yeah, my mic was a little over too crazy in the beginning. I don't know if you guys heard
that
it. It was
better?
peaking.
Yep.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
better.
I mean, yeah, like just like you guys, I don't know anything about him, but I heard what I've heard is from a couple of tweets that I've looked at. He's like his range is good. I mean, he didn't get to really show his talents in Detroit, so I guess maybe they bring him for a starting position in New York to actually give him a shot. I think that's what the deal is mostly about. I think it's a low risk, high reward type deal. I feel like this guy can come in and produce, and we don't know. Maybe Salah can change him, and if this was the first signing for the Jets, Salah saw something in him and wants him to be on this defense. So we'll see. Maybe we'll watch more film and we'll know better in a couple of days. But yeah, I have absolutely no idea who he is.
Yeah, man. And I want to talk about the whole CJ Mosley stuff because this is some breaking stuff that I never really thought of. So, Jack, the report says the Jets have been receiving trade calls on CJ. After opting out last year, Mosley still has $22 million in guarantees remaining on his contract, but his cap hit for a new team will be $6 million. So, if you're the Jets, are you moving on from CJ Mosley or you want to keep him?
I think that's a crazy decision, and I don't even know how to answer that, man, because I mean, it's been 2 full seasons essentially, like who knows what type of player this guy's going to return to the league as. So I mean, I really don't know. I guess if I'm Joe Douglas at this point, if the deal is right and we could get something substantial, then I probably would make the move, honestly, if I'm Joe Douglas, because I know that he just is so into getting more capital wherever he can. And the fact that you said he has $22 million more in guarantees on his contract. If we could move that off of our organization and onto another organization and get a piece or two in return and a draft pick or whatever it's going to be, whatever the situation is going to be, if it's beneficial to us, then definitely do it, man, because who knows what type of player he's going to return as. I mean, he could return as the most elite linebacker in football, which he looked like in the first quarter of the Bills game 2 years ago. So we don't know. But at this point, I think it's a lot of money for a giant question mark. And if the deal is right, I would probably pull the trigger for sure if I was Joe Douglas.
Yeah, Rich Cimini just tweeted about the whole situation with CJ. He said, according to the people he just talked to, he believes they will be motivated to move him. So it looks like the Jets will be moving CJ, according to all these reports. And the reason is, I think for them, is they want to shed his contract. They want to have as much flexibility as possible. But the question is, again, what are you doing with that money? If you're not going to go out there and get the big fish targets, what really do the Jets want to do with this money? Is it Deshaun Watson's contract that they're waiting for? I don't know. So, Ryan, what's your thoughts on the CJ Mosley trade rumors that literally just happened 5 minutes ago?
I love it. If someone's willing to give us, a bag of rocks for him, I'm all about it. This guy's a fucking asshole. He opts out on us. Absolutely. Screw this guy. No, I was really excited for him. It didn't make any sense when we signed him initially. That confused the hell out of me from the get-go. But if we can move him and get something, he's going to be 29 years old this year. You're paying $7 million to Jarrad Davis. That's a lot of money for a backup. I think that signing makes more sense with the Jets fielding trade calls for Mosley. I think that makes a ton of sense in conjunction. I don't know what you get for him. I mean, $6 million for a team this year, but then he goes up to 16, 17, and 17 the next 3 years after that. So are you okay with either 1 year, $6 million or 2 years, $6 and $16 million? I don't know what do you think the trade compensation is? Is it a 3rd round pick or is it higher or lower? I have no idea.
Yeah, man. I think they're going to be motivated to just move the contract and they don't really care what they get back because it's so hard to move somebody that hasn't played for 2 years. Who the hell is going to want to trade for him? And I don't know, man. It's really crazy. What do you think his motive is right now, Ali? What do you think Joe Douglas's mindset right now? Because he's been very conservative. He's been obviously not making any moves. He's made one signing so far. So is he going to go out there and get a receiver eventually, an edge rusher? We know that they're linked to that guy from the Saints. So what are you hearing?
Look, it's 4 hours in, man. It's 4 hours in, and to overreact. And right now it's just, we saw Thuney go. We're seeing these moves, what the Patriots are doing, and we're just getting jealous that why aren't the Jets not doing anything? We sucked last year. That's what the point everyone's thinking. He needs to be more aggressive. I think he still will be aggressive because you need to be. I get the point where he has to be. He's focused on draft, building through the Jets. That's awesome. But you also have to pick up guys that can be playmakers in free agency and be ready to put money on them. He missed out on Thuney. I really thought he was going to push on him. I talked to Connor Hughes on a live yesterday, and he pretty much emphasized that Thuney was going to be the guy that he wants to target because they tried last year and then they failed again this year. When it was really concerning, what is Joe Douglas actually thinking of doing? Like, we have absolutely no clue who he's targeting, who's he getting. Is he just going with these 1-year deals still? We have absolutely no idea. Hopefully he can get some guys because there are still a lot of guys on the market. There is just only 4 hours in. We have weeks and weeks of free agents to get signed. So, I mean, it's early in the process, but the thing is the Jets need to be more aggressive. I think he will be more aggressive. It's just 4 hours in. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, we will see how this goes. And more things are coming in on Jarrad Davis. I'm trying to learn about him. He was a former first-round pick, and he's 26 years old. LaMichael Piron just tweeted welcoming him to New York. Yeah, big bro, let's get it. So I think that this is going to be a guy that might fit into the scheme. And I really thought that going into this free agency, we're going to sign players that Jets fans are not going to know about, and it's going to be 1-year deals, and we're not going to be happy, right? Because we're so accustomed to winning offseason, and it's never worked. Last year, we did not win offseason at all. We did not win offseason, and that resulted in obviously winning 2 games. But we have to realize, like you guys heard what I was saying a couple minutes ago, I feel like we just got to let the process play out. Like Elise said, be patient with it, because I know Joe Douglas is not going to go out there and try to sign the big fish free agents right away. Was he in on Joe Thuney? I guarantee he was. So we'll see. Matt O'Leary's here in the chat. Yo, Matt, if you're trying to join the stream, if you're doing nothing, let me know, man, because you're more than welcome to join in.
O'Leary!
Matt O'Leary. Jets Twitter's driving me crazy today, boys.
We need him to get in a suit. We need him to get on that live
Matt,
with you on a suit. Get him on a freaking suit, bro.
Keep forgetting the suit. I realized I'm like painting something downstairs. I'm like, oh, O'Leary didn't wear the suit yesterday.
I know, right?
Oh, damn it.
He needs to wear
I'll
it.
go on with them. I'm all about suiting up.
We got my boy Dan. My boy Dan. What's good, Dan? Most loyal fan on Jets Media, probably. Shout out to Dan. Thank you for the $5 donation, brother. Appreciate it. Oh, Matt is at work. All right, Matt. Well, you can still get on here on your phone.
Go take a poop. Go to the office.
We need your takes. We need to hear a rant real quick of you in the bathroom at work. In Joe Douglas, we trust is true, Dan. We got to be patient. We got to realize that. Let the process play out. Jets Twitter's been crazy. I was tweeting out a lot of impatient GIFs saying, be patient, and then I'm getting antsy. I'm like all over the place. Jets Twitter is crazy. We want this player. Everyone's in disagreement. I don't know. So, Ryan, what's your prediction? Who are we signing? Who is going to be our biggest free agent signing money-wise?
I think it's going to be an edge rusher. There's so many edge rushers. I don't think it's going to be a crazy ton of money either. I had it written down before. Do I have it written down still? Yeah. So Romeo Okwara, a guy I wanted to go after, 3 years, $39 million. That's a $13 million a year average. Matthew Judon signs 4 years, $54 million. That's $14 million a year. Shaq Barrett, 4 years, $72 million. That's $18 million a year. That's probably the highest of the guys we'll see. Maybe Ngakoue gets around there because I think Barrett took a little bit less to stay with the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would say the Jets are going to go after an edge rusher. It's going to be Trey Hendrickson or Yannick Ngakoue. I think or maybe both. I could see both of them. I honestly think the Jets will get 2, I would say marquee free agents, but I don't think that Trey Hendrickson is like a crazy ton of money. I bet he falls somewhere between Okwara and Judon. Like I could see him for $13 to $14 million a year. He's trending up in the right direction, and he's young. I really like him. I'm really high on him. It was actually Jude Jetz. I don't know if Jude Jetz is watching, but Jude Jetz is the one that turned me on to him mid-season. So Jude, if you haven't seen this, I'm plugging you here. They did a really good job.
So you would say if we do get Ngakoue, what do you think the price would be? You think it'll be around Judon's contract or something more or less?
I think it'll be more than Judon. I think it's going to be like probably in the $16 million a year range, 16 to 18. I think it'll be around Shaq Barrett. It's not going to, I think Shaq would have gotten more had he gone to a different team. So I think, I think Yannick coming here, because Salah was his defensive coordinator when he was drafted. So like that connection makes a lot of sense to me. Hendrickson, I really like, and there's been a ton of like smoke around the Jets, sniffing around him. So I think you could get both of them, because if you bring in Hendrickson, I still think you need that elite edge rusher on the side. And I think you can bring in both and they'd play completely different positions, but it would make our pass rush, and Quinnen Williams would be elite.
Ooh, you're getting me excited thinking about that. So we got over 300 people right now in the New York Jets free agency buzz live stream here on Jets Media. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are new and you guys did not hit that thumbs up button, make sure you run it up. If you hit that thumbs up button, it's going to give the Jets a lot of luck. And if you guys are not subscribed to Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7, make sure you do so. That is down below in the description. But I'm assuming all 300 of you guys are subscribed to Ryan, right? I mean, he's one of the best Jets YouTuber out there. Am I right? But listen, we got a lot to get into. I'm worried. How's everybody doing this in the chat? Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got somebody breaking news, and I think that's wrong. No way in the chat. Don't do that to us, bro. No fake news in the chat, because you're gonna make my heart explode. Someone said the Jets signed Galladay, and like you can't do that. All right.
There was a Twitter with like
no
18
followers.
There's a Twitter with 18 followers that someone posted on like a Jet forum that I'm a part of, and he goes, "Oh no, a lot of smoke to Galladay going to the Giants." It's like, dude, it's got 18 followers. Get that out of here.
I don't get it. I don't understand Jets Twitter sometimes, because anybody is saying sources, according to
sources,
and they say something, and then there's people quote tweeting it. There's people responding like, "No way, really?" And they're believing it. I'm like, "Oh my god, like, what don't you get?" Like, I don't understand how people don't. And I I made a tweet at noon, right when free agency opened. I was like, according to inside sources that are 100% true, Joe Douglas is currently on the phone. It's like a gif of a monkey on the phone. Like, it was just like a shot. Like, yo, like no one has sources if you're not a Jets beat reporter or working for the NFL. It's that simple. So please be careful of all these Jets Twitter accounts that are saying they have sources, because they don't. Nick with a $2 donation. Thank you so much, brother. CJ Mosley trade buzz building. What can we get? So we went over this a little earlier. This is breaking news, because nobody expected Mosley to be on the trade market, as they're talking about it right now on NFL Network. I actually have NFL Network on, and they're talking about Jets receiving trade calls on CJ Mosley, and I wonder what they're saying. But yeah, man, I just think that the reason why they want to get rid of him is because his contract is lucrative, and he has not done anything for the Jets productive-wise. For him to opt out last year, as Ryan said, it really did not sit well with him personally. We saw it in the pain in his eyes. He's still pissed off from that news. So if they can get anything from CJ, I mean, we just signed Jarrad Davis, who will probably be either a backup or, I mean, he might be starting, getting $7 million for a year. So it's going to be interesting. We signed him to be a really good linebacker, and when we did sign him, he was the highest paid linebacker in the NFL, and he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. Like, the talent's there, obviously, but did he miss a step? I mean, that injury he had his first year on the Jets was scary, because they threw him out there against the Patriots like in week 8 or 9 or whatever it was, and he was walking around like this. Like, I remember looking at him like, yo, why is CJ Mosley on the field? Like, his groin is not 100%. Like, I mean, shout out to CJ for trying to play, but that was just a terrible position for the coaches. So let's move on. Let's talk about what we predict the Jets to do.
Ian Rapport was just on NFL Network, and he gave an update on CJ Mosley. That's what I was listening to. And he pretty much said the Jets are not hanging up the phone. They're actually listening to see if they can actually work something out and see if something can happen there. So there's that. I think the Jets are going to try, but I don't know. They're going to figure something out with that contract. He said the contract might be the issue in this situation, this trade. So we'll see how that goes.
I just can't believe we're sitting here talking about, and I know it's 4 hours in, I know, but like, I'm still so, and shout out to everybody in the chat that's still like, I can't stop thinking about Joe Thuney. Like, I'm so upset. But like, it's just crazy that we're talking about, the biggest buzz is who we're trading away as opposed to who we're bringing in, so it's just like, it's a little frustrating right now. Like, to put it lightly, it's a little frustrating right now, but, we're 4.5 hours into free agency, so hopefully things turn around soon. Hoping for an edge rush signing for sure. I still think we're gonna tackle at least one guard spot with the 23rd pick. So all hope is not lost. But Joe Thuney, man, I can't stop thinking about that. That's like, I thought it was a lock. I really did.
Yeah, like I said previously, and on a lot of times here on Jets media, if the Jets were going to open up the bank, I want it to be Joe Thuney. So it's upsetting. So let's get into something, more hypothetical of what the Jets will do in terms of the running back, the wide receiver position. So who I want, or I think a lot of Jets fans want, is Jamal Williams. He's officially moving on from Green Bay. He said it on Instagram today, saying that I'm out. So later, Green Bay, the Packers re-signed Aaron Jones for a big deal, and he's officially an unrestricted free agent, and he will be moving on. I think he'll be definitely smart. He played for LaFleur, so we got his brother, and I feel like that would be a smart move. And when we get into the receivers, it looks like Juju Smith is also out of Pittsburgh. There's a report that came out a couple hours ago that he told some Pittsburgh Steelers teammates, yeah, man, I'm out. I'm not re-signing. And Kenny Golladay, I saw a report about him that he's taking his time, and I don't expect Golladay to make any decision in today at least or tomorrow. I think he's going to be patient with it. And then we got Will Fuller, we have Curtis Samuel. Like, there's a lot of options out there. So, Ryan, who do you think the Jets should target the most when it comes to playmakers, whether that's running back, even tight end, because we know Jonnu Smith went to the Patriots, and wide receiver?
So I wasn't really looking too hard at running back. I'll be honest. I would be okay if we decided to go with like a third or fourth round running back. I don't need to go crazy high on this. Without us getting Thuney and, potentially having to draft a guard higher than I would have liked, I think that pushes running back up a little bit more on my free agent wish list, I guess. So Jamal Williams, if there was a running back out there, that's probably the guy I'd want to go for. I really do like him. Wide receiver wise, I think Curtis Samuel is going to have a ton of suitors. It sounds like there's like half the league going after this guy from what I've heard. Just a versatile weapon. I would like to see, it'd be cool to get Golladay. Golladay feels a lot like Mims. Like if I'm envisioning wide receivers, like that's what we hope Mims to be. It's not to say you can't have both of them, but like, what is it going to be? He turned down, I think it was a $17 or $18 million a year deal from Detroit last year. I don't know if that was just because he didn't want to be in Detroit or it was too low of an offer and he didn't want it. I can't imagine him getting that much money this offseason. Juju, I feel like we only bring Juju in if we're okay moving on from Crowder. I don't love that move. It's something I could see them do. But I would say Samuel would be I don't even want to call him a crown jewel. I really like Corey Davis. Corey Davis is someone I really would like to bring in for not a ton of money. That's like the guy that I think sort of screams Douglas. I don't know if he really fits this offense. I feel like Samuel fits the offense better, and Galladay's versatile, can fit any offense. I don't know a heck of a ton about Corey Davis, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and he was drafted like fourth?
Fifth. I think it was fifth. Yeah, I think it was because that was the Darnold draft, I think, right?
That was absolutely insane. When I remember I saw that, I'm like, this guy better be the next coming of something, but you never know. Sammy Watkins got drafted in the top 5 to the Bills, and that never panned out. But I'm right there with you, man. All those receivers make sense in terms of financially. I think Curtis Samuel makes the most sense because it's not going to be as expensive as a Juju or a Golladay, and he fits the scheme the most, I feel like. But I'm open for any receiver at this point because we were so bad last year. We had so many different injuries. And another news that I want to talk about is apparently the Jets are interested in re-signing Brashad Perriman, which is interesting. Should the Jets do that? And the way I look at it is I'm okay with it if it's obviously cheap and he's looked at as a wide receiver 4 or 5. Like, we're not re-signing him to be our starter at all. It's depth purposes. And Joe Douglas better be scarred from last year with the injuries at that wide receiver spot. We have Chris Hogan as a starter receiver at one point in like week 3. So that needs to just never happen again. He needs to really understand that the playmakers around whatever quarterback we have needs to have a lot of depth. And if you look at the San Francisco 49ers, because obviously we're becoming the San Francisco Jets because of Robert Saleh and all the coaching staff out there, they were known to have so many receivers. Like, they never had a true number 1 receiver. They had a bunch of number 2 receivers, if that makes any sense. And I feel like that's what the Jets are going to try to do at that wide receiver position. I noticed that we got a lot of people joining in on the stream, over 400 people. If you guys are new to the stream, make sure you smash that thumbs up button on your way in. Let's get this over 100 likes. If you guys are new to the stream, I greatly appreciate it. And also, if you're new to Jets Media, make sure you subscribe because I would definitely appreciate that. We are 4.5 hours into NFL free agency, and it's been hectic. Jets fans have been very impatient, including myself, because why not? We want to see some news. We want to react to it. We want to give our opinions on it. So
Lindsey to the Chargers.
Philip Lindsay?
Yeah.
That's what the chat's blowing up with.
He
Really?
is. He signed. Yeah.
Damn it.
He's gone.
Yo,
That's what happens when you have a good quarterback.
my breaking news is the chat now. I don't even need to go on Twitter. Thank you guys in the chat. You guys, I mean, I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of trolls. So don't.
I'm like trying to watch and
I have like Twitter right in front of me. So
Yeah, me too. All right. So what's your thoughts on that, Ali?
oh man, I don't know what's going on in that. I have absolutely no idea what they're doing. I don't know what they're like. What I saw the entire morning, we were the most interested team for him. Like it seemed like we were gonna sign him, and then we lost another guy. And I don't know what Joe Douglas is doing. I don't know. Like, is he finding some? Is he just gonna go through the draft and grab offensive line? I have absolutely no idea. So
yeah, man.
I just don't know what's going on.
Oh, for sure. And I just feel like what we're experiencing right now is exactly what Douglas told us a week ago. You know what I mean? It's not like we shouldn't be surprised because he said, quote, maybe not word for word, but we're going to use free agency to fill out the roster, and we're going to really focus on the draft because that's how you build a sustainable winner. And that's the proper way to do it. The only problem with that is it takes a little longer. That's the only thing I would say. So to stay on the topic of the receivers, because that's definitely something the Jets need to do, Jack, who do you think the Jets should bring in the free agency when it comes to receivers? Is it Juju, Will Fuller, Curtis Samuel, Corey Davis, Kenny Galladay? And we know Allen Robinson got franchise tag. So what do you think the Jets should do with the wide receiver position?
I mean, listen, we can't sit here and be arrogant. Any of those names you just mentioned would be an instant improvement from where we were last year at the receiving position. So, I mean, if the price is right, and I really wouldn't be upset with any of those names. I know a lot of people aren't super high on Galladay because of his injuries, but if you look at 2019, he had like 1,400 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns, and he was one of the best receivers in football. So, people say the same things about Will Fuller, but he's a speedster and he's a big play, threat, which is, something we've been lacking as well on the Jets since we lost Robbie Anderson. So, any of those names you mentioned, I really wouldn't be upset with. I think a lot of people are the highest on Curtis Samuel because he'll be a little bit less of a price tag, and I think I agree with a lot of people. They say when they say he'll fit the system very well. I mean, at least we're all hopeful of that. But it's actually funny, I just looked on. Somebody put some more fake news in the chat, so I just looked up Curtis Samuel on Twitter, and it's funny to see we think that just because we want these players so bad that it's just instantly gonna happen. Like you search Curtis Samuel on Twitter, and there's the first thing I saw was a Bengals account saying, "All right, we missed out on Thuney. Let's get Curtis Samuel next." And then I was a Patriots guy, and then everybody around the league has their eyes on this small group of guys. So I think Joe Douglas is not going to overpay. I think he knows where we stand right now as a team. I think missing out on Thuney and Linsley really sucks. I kind of feel like we just played week 1 and lost right now. But I don't know. I'm still hopeful. We got a lot of time to go, but yeah, man, going back to the receivers, I would not be upset with any of the names you mentioned. Juju, a lot of people hate on him because of the TikTokery and such. But I think that if Juju was paired up with Denzel Mims, I think it would be awesome. I think another solid receiver is probably best for Juju. A lot of people say that Juju's not really a true one, and I kind of agree with that, but I really don't at the same time. I feel like he's a very talented player, but just having another good receiver with him can just make him shine even more. So I wouldn't be happy. I would be happy with that. I wouldn't mind that at all. And going back to what I said before, we can't sit here and be cocky and say, "Oh, we don't want this guy, we don't want that guy." Look at who our receivers were last year. Darnold was throwing to Chris Hogan and Jeff Smith. It was embarrassing. So anybody that we bring in this current free agent receiver market will be an instant improvement from where we were last year. And I still expect us to probably draft a receiver in the mid rounds of the draft. and hopefully rock with whoever we pick up in free agency and Mims and the guy we drafted. And I think it'll be fun to watch.
Facts, man. I'm just like all over the place. I'm on Twitter, refreshing everything, making sure I'm on top. I'm adding some mods to my stream because I realized I have no moderators and we got a lot of spammers. So make sure you guys are helping me out in the chat, my 2 new mods. So listen, it's going to be a long and crazy free agency. It just kicked off at 12, as we know. And like I said, man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Joe Douglas is not going to go out there and spend a lot of money until we are 1 or 2 players away from really being a playoff team. And I don't know if that makes a lot of sense to some people, but I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Joe Douglas said himself, he wants to build this through the draft, and he's going to use free agency to fill some holes and provide depth on the team. So does that mean he should not go out there and get talent in free agency? No, he should definitely go out there and make sure to fill in some holes and spend a little more than others. But like I said, I think Joe Douglas's mindset is to keep cap flexibility for next year. I think Joe Douglas wants to make sure by next offseason, he still has a lot of cap flexibility. And the next year, I feel like that's part of his mindset because he comes from a guy like Ozzie Newsome. And that's who he learned from. And that's exactly what he did. He never really overpaid. He always built through the draft. He always had flexibility in the cap space every single year. We got a donation from Mike. Thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate it. A little pissed, but can't get everyone. Why not send Sam to Washington? For sure, focus draft on defense with top picks -2. This is a good take. Ryan, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that we're not getting any of these top interior offensive linemen. Drafting defense early on, I'm okay with. It kind of depends how free agency shakes out. Like, that's the best part about well, not the best part. I would prefer the draft to come first so you can draft like great players and then plug in your needs in free agency. I think that would make more sense, but because of everything with the collective bargaining agreement, it makes more sense to pay the veterans now. So with free agency coming first, I think now that the guards or center or interior offensive linemen are gone, that moves up the need for a guard or center or something of that nature in the draft. So whether you like Creed Humphrey or Wyatt Davis or any number of these guys that could be had in the top 3 rounds, I think that increases the need there. I think wide receiver wise, or actually, I guess let's go defense because we're talking defense minus the number 2 pick. I wanted edge rusher in the draft, but with this many edge rushers still on the market, I'm actually cool with double dipping at edge rusher. Go with like a Trey Hendrickson and a Yannick Ngakoue. Like if you get those 2 guys, you're probably talking 13, 14 million a year for Trey, 17, 18 for Ngakoue. So it's a lot of money, but it's only like maybe a third or half what we have right now. But our premium draft picks, rather than drafting an edge rusher, you're now getting an established one. Like Ngakoue's floor, I think, is 8 sacks. So if you're saying like, hey, for that amount of money, you're guaranteeing me 8 sacks basically a year, I'm all about it. I think it benefits us, with Quinnen Williams and everything. When you start talking about other parts of the draft, so I would say, I guess hypothetically, quarterback 2, guard 23, corner 34, unless J.C. Horn's available at 23 and you think Wyatt Davis will fall to 34, I think somewhere in those top 2 picks will be guard and cornerback. This doesn't feel like a strong cornerback free agency for me. And then I would like to go running back in like the 3rd or 4th round. But I do think defense, edge rusher wise, should be had in free agency at this point because of who has already been signed.
It's good take, good take. How about you, Ali? How do you feel about that?
I mean, Ryan literally took everything I wanted to say about this topic because honestly, I wanted quarterback 2, with the 2nd pick, obviously. If the Jets somehow get Sam to Washington and get that trade going, that would be an awesome trade for the Jets. Honestly, that would be a win for them, a win for Washington as well. But I wouldn't, with the number 2 pick, I would not use a defensive pick. It doesn't make sense there. You got to get your quarterback or whatever it is there. 23, I do like J.C. Horn a lot. I just did a draft profile on him, and I watched all this film on him, and I love him. I don't even think he's going to make it down to 23. I think he's going to be gone much before then. But if he somehow gets down there, you got to take him, and then hopefully take Wyatt Davis with the 34th. So, I hope that's how it goes out. But you never know with the draft what happens, and trades can happen. The Jets could be moving down, because I think Joe Douglas might even trade down from that 23rd pick. You never know. So, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. But if Sam was to go to Washington and you get Sheriff, you do it 100%.
I mean, yeah, I feel like if we could trade for a top guard like that, but is Washington open for that? I heard a rumor today that they're looking into Mitch Trubisky. And we're like, hey, yo, why don't you want Sam Darnold if we're going to trade him? But again, we don't even know who our quarterback's going to be. That's another big question that we're going to tackle. And another thing that I saw, that Mullins is going to be an unrestricted free agent. Do you guys think that Mullins will come to the Jets to be our backup because of the whole familiarity with the San Francisco 49ers? What do you think about that, Ryan?
Yeah, that's someone I mocked to the Jets a while ago was CJ. I think knowing that and being our backup quarterback, because Flacco, goodbye. I don't need to deal with Flacco. You're not going to draft someone. Morgan didn't have a training camp last offseason. He's not a reliable second quarterback right now. Get a guy that knows the system. So that way when you draft Wilson, or if you roll it back with Sam, or if you trade for Watson, there's someone who knows the system in the quarterback room and can at least sort of explain a different way to go, I guess. Should I look at Forrest Lamp guard-wise? Is that...
Yeah, go for it. Thank you so much for the donation, the NY Bully. Appreciate it. Why don't you answer that, Ryan?
So if guard Forrest Lamp is available, should we go after him? We need to draft O-line, but we still have to fill spots through free agency. As long as we're not trading for anyone. I'm not big on trading for guys because we have so many assets and so much money. I'd rather spend the money on areas that are going to improve the team a lot. Edge rusher is a big one for me since interior offensive lineman is gone. Trade-wise, Sam for sure makes a lot of sense. I could get behind that. I think that makes sense from our point of view, but I would almost rather like Sam for a pick. It depends. If it's a first-round pick, I'm taking the pick. If it's a second-round pick, then I'm taking Scherf. I don't know. I don't particularly want to give up some of our rookie assets for where we're going to have a 4-year rookie contract for a guy that might need a new deal or give up an extra asset for it when we have so much money to go out and get other players.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point because Sam Darnold, what is his value? So Jack, I want to ask you this. If the Jets do decide to move on from Sam, and apparently there's 8 teams interested in Sam Darnold, that's a lot of teams. And if that report's true, then that means the price might be a little upwards of what the report said, Josh Rosen. So Josh Rosen got dealt for what, a 2nd and 5th round pick. Do you expect Sam Darnold to be dealt for more than a 2nd and 5th, or do you think it's going to be similar to that?
That's a tough question. I mean, I've had it in my head for a while now that I feel like we could get a late 1st round pick for Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a team like New Orleans, for example, who's in complete cap hell. Drew Brees has officially announced his retirement. All the leverage they really have is in that 28th overall pick. So if we can get Darnold out for a late 1st round pick, then do it for sure. Because going back to that question, I think 2 questions ago, we had it on the screen, going defense with your first picks. I think that especially since we lost out on, Thuney and Lindsley, we're going to have to, and I wanted to do this anyway, but we're going to have to go interior offensive lineman with the 23rd pick. I really feel like that's what Joe Douglas is going to do. My gut still tells me QB at 2, guard at 23. And then all of a sudden, if we can get Sam Darnold for the 28th pick, that might be reaching a little bit, but I don't know. I'm really I think it could happen to a team like New Orleans, who's in complete cap hell, who has no other way of going out and getting a quarterback. And yeah, I totally agree with you there, Matt. I have not been active on Twitter in the last couple weeks.
Go watch Matt O'Leary's Instagram story.
Matt, if there's anybody that relates to this more, it's Jack for sure.
Oh my God, I cannot stand it.
To piggyback off what Jack was just saying, a trade with the Saints, I don't know if 28 is going to happen. I think that's a really valuable pick for them because they're in cap hell. So to give up a 5-year contract on a cheap, it feels like a bad move for New Orleans. But Marshawn Lattimore with the Saints, we need a cornerback. He's in the last year of his deal. Sam's going into the last year of his deal. That to me is a perfect swap. If they want to get a potential franchise quarterback and we want to sign Lattimore to a new long-term deal, I'm all about it. I think trading with the Saints makes a ton of sense.
That brings up a good point. Yo, bring me Lattimore to the Jets for Sam. I'm all for it. Matt, I'm curious. I did not see his Instagram story. What was his Instagram story? Should I go check it out? Was he ranting?
It's just a rant, yeah.
Rant about everybody on Twitter? Oh, man. So Lindsley got a bag. I'm just seeing the contract now. So it's a 5-year, $62.5 million deal, and apparently the Jets were not even in on him because they did not want to spend that money.
Get out of here! What? That's insane. That is so much money.
Wait,
Yeah.
Can you repeat that?
The Chargers signed him to a 5-year, $62.5 million contract. He's now the highest paid center in the league.
Yeah, Joe Douglas is never going to pay that crap.
Exactly. Like,
No.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys
I definitely thought you meant 4-year to the start. I was like, what? $15 million a year? No, okay, so it's what, 11 and a half? Is that what it works out?
Yeah, so you see, like, Douglas definitely would love Lindsley on his team. He would love Thuney on his team. And I think Thuney went to the Chiefs. He wasn't going to go to the Jets. If he went to the Chiefs, it's because he wants to win a Super Bowl. So it's unfortunate for that. But when it comes to Corey Lindsley, you know, obviously Douglas is not going to open up the bank right now because this is a move that you need to do if you are in win-now mode. And the Chargers feel like they are in win-now mode, I feel like, even though last year they didn't do that well. But they got a rookie quarterback going into year 2 who has a lot of potential, and they need to protect him. So it's going to be interesting, man. What the hell the Jets going to do in terms of the interior offensive line? There's a lot of options. I think we can all agree that they're going to draft an interior offensive lineman at 23. I also think the Jets will trade down 2 or 3 times in the draft. And I know this stream is more about free agency, but free agency connects to the draft because it really determines what the Jets do right now depicts what we're going to do in the draft. Because if we tackle some needs now in free agency, it's going to, cancel it out in the draft, obviously. So right now, we only have one guy signed, and that's Jarrad Davis. So who is Joe Douglas on the phone with? Is it a receiver? Is it an interior offensive lineman? And we saw what they did last year. The first guy that we signed was George Fent for a 3-year, $30 million contract, and then we got Connor McGovern. And Connor McGovern is a guy that can play center and guard position, and he had a very up-and-down season. He was a little below average, but, I feel like he definitely could be upgraded, but he's going to be a starter on this team, whether that's at the center position or right guard, or if they move him to left guard, who knows what they'll do. But Ali, how do you think they're going to tackle this interior offensive line position? Do you think it's going to be at 23? Do you think there's somebody else in the free agency pool that we need to target? What do you really expect? Because this is a big need. And whoever our quarterback is, whoever our running back is, we need to beef up that interior offensive line, especially if you want to get the maximum potential out of Mekhi Becton. Because Mekhi Becton, we all look at as our franchise left tackle. He needs help on that offensive line. He can't do it all by himself. We feel like we have solid tackles. When George Fant on the right side, I think he's officially going to stay there. And then we know Mekhi Becton's going to year 2. We have high hopes. So how should the Jets tackle this interior offensive line, especially with Thuney and Lindsley off the board?
I mean, who's available? I feel like the top guns are gone, and I think we're just gonna have to see like competition in camp now, or a rookie that comes in and becomes a starter. That's pretty much what it is, I think, right now. I think the lower focus is trying to get weapons for your rookie quarterback. I think that's what the focus should be, and edge rusher and getting cornerback. That's what their focus should be, because there is still a lot of talent left, at running back, at wide receiver. He should be involved heavily. And I think for running backs, obviously Jamal Williams is an option. And then I do like Marlon Mack a lot. A lot of people do not like Marlon Mack, but I think he has untapped potential. He had that ACL injury, but I think he has that, he could take it to the next level with the Jets. With the line, I think they're just going to focus on the draft. I think they're going to go like maybe 2-3 picks and just get linemen. And I think that's what they're going to try to do. This is Joe Douglas. He's a former offensive lineman. He's going to try to get guys to come in. He did this with Mekhi Becton pick. I mean, you know what he is. We have seen a lot from him. Obviously not the full picture, because it's only 5 hours in. There still could be, maybe he's talking with the Texans right now about Deshaun Watson. We have absolutely no clue. So I think he knows what he's doing, but the process it's a process for him. I think we just gotta wait.
Facts. We do gotta wait. Please refrain from any fake news in the live chat. People are driving us crazy out there. So maybe the chat is not reliable because we did get breaking news from them. They're the ones that broke the news about Joe Thuney. But now everybody's saying that the Jets signed Kenny Golladay, which they did not. I did not expect Kenny Golladay to get signed today or tomorrow because he said that he's going to take his time. So please, please, please stop giving us some fake news in the live chat. That would greatly appreciate everybody in the chat and all four of us because we are all in this together and we're all nervous and anxious and waiting to hear some breaking news for the New York Jets. So, Ryan, you want to give us a little rundown on what you expect for the rest of this free agency, right? It's a loaded question, but we see that Joe Douglas is not going to be spending heavy. All the top tier guys are mostly off the market. There might be some still there, especially in the wide receiver group. So how do you think he's going to fill out the roster, in particular free agency? How is he going to spend all this money? Is he going to try to make sure he has cap space next year? Like, is that his mindset? He's going to try to do 1-year deals, 2-year deals with opt-outs? Because is he looking more in the future? Or do you think that he's going to go out there and get a big ticket? Because I see a lot of people on Jets Twitter, a lot of people in the chat, people are really upset that Joe Douglas has not opened up the bank. He's stingy with his money. He's not opening it up, and it's going to sacrifice a lot of wins for us next year. He does not want to go out there and sign the big ticket free agents. And if we do remember previous Jets GMs, the ones that went out there and did what the Patriots just did and signed like a crazy amount of money in one free agency, it never really worked for the Jets. So Joe Douglas is doing a completely opposite approach, and Jets fans are not used to this. So what do you think is going on with Joe Douglas's mind, and what do you think his plan really is to calm down some people that are worried?
I think this is exactly going to Joe Douglas's plan. Maybe not to a T, but like I think he would have loved to have had Joe Thuney or Lindsley for a certain number, whatever that price is. But I do think he's told us he's going to build through the draft. I think that's ultimately how you have to do it. And if you sign a bunch of guys to 1-year contracts, like successful teams, if you could mold your team over a 5-year period, what are you doing? You're building through the draft. Those players that are really good wind up, maybe you can't afford them. Like maybe you have your core building blocks. But if you have guys that are leaving, you get compensation picks for them. If you sign guys to 1-year contracts and they play well and they're playing for a contract, like that's the value of a 1-year deal is guys are trying to get that next payday. So there's an extra motivation there. So if you're Joe Douglas and you're signing a 1-year deal, the guy plays out of his mind, he goes sign somewhere else, you get a comp pick. Like you can build your team through the draft. If you have a GM that can draft well, which it appears like Douglas at least has a better draft head than previous GMs that we've had. I trust in Joe Douglas. I don't have to go out and spend a crazy ton of money in free agency. I do think edge rusher, since you have the money, is valuable to do that. But if you roll over a bunch of money, you wind up just saving it for the guys that you've drafted well that want to re-sign for this team. So when you're up and you have to sign Quinnen Williams next year because you're going into year 3 of his rookie deal and he can renegotiate, and he's going to play out of his mind this year, you're going to have to give him a big deal. Well, if you re-sign him then, now you stretch the signing bonus over multiple years, including the 2 cheap years left on his contract. So I think if you roll over money, as much as we're frustrated that we're not seeing the big names in here that we would like to see, I think we'll get one big name guy. I think it's going to be an edge rusher. I think it's going to be either Hendrickson or Ngakoue. Hopefully both. That would be like really awesome. But I'm not too worried. I'm okay with everything that's going on so far. 15 or 16 million a year for Thuney. I don't see Douglas paying what the Jets would have had to pay for Thuney not to have gone to the 2-time Super Bowl, or in the Super Bowl 2 times in a year, the Chiefs. So I'm not worried about the Jets. I'm pretty happy with where we are right now.
Yeah, man, I agree. So Jack, do you have anything else you want to add on to what Ryan said? He definitely said a lot, but what do you really think about Joe Douglas's approach in free agency so far? And do you think he's doing the right thing by not going out there and spending the big bucks and saving the money for the lower tier guys and build through the draft? Or do you think that's a mistake? He should spending his money now in order we can win now. So I know there's a lot of Jets fans that are butting heads. Some people apparently want Joe Douglas gone and fired because they don't like the way he's doing this. So what's your thoughts?
I mean, that's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, if you're sitting there and you genuinely feel that way, then you should just pick a new team because you just have no idea what's going on. But honestly, like, I know it's a little bit frustrating right now. You know, we missed out on the top 2 interior offensive linemen, which, you know, at least we thought Thuney. Most of us thought Thuney was going to be a New York Jet. I know I did. But you know, this isn't really surprising. This is kind of, you know, how we were all expecting Joe Douglas to handle you know, free agency. And I say that as free agency is only 5 hours in. You know, we may have missed out on the 2 big names on the offensive line, but we still have time to hit on corners and receivers and edge rusher. So you know, I agree with Ryan. I like where we are right now. I know it's a little bit frustrating, but you know, I think we just have to stay the course and keep our faith in Joe Douglas. I mean, it's ridiculous that people are saying fire him and he's cheap and he sucks. Like, I mean, you guys just have no idea what you're talking about. So I think that, you know, I could have predicted where we were at right now. Maybe I really did think Thuney was going to come here, but you know, you guys have made good points when you say that you know, what we would have had to pay Thuney for him to come to us instead of Kansas City would have just been way too much. So, you know what? I thought that $15-16 million a year was going to be what we would end up paying for him. Didn't work out. So, you know what? But like I just mentioned, we still have time to hit on a lot of other positions. And Joe Douglas is going to stick to his guns and he's going to do what he said. And he's going to keep trying to build this team through the draft and use free agency to supplement the roster. And, you know, we do have a lot of holes in this roster right now. So this does need to be a key free agency. And he's still got, you know, time to hit on some guys that are still out there. But, you know, I think this is just not very surprising is my whole point. You know, this is kind of how I thought Joe Douglas was going to go about things. He's not going to overspend. He's not going to, you know, compete for a player with another organization to the point where it ends up being, you know, non-beneficial to the Jets in the long run, you know? So I'm just kind of, and I know there's a lot of guys out there that are frustrated. I mean, the guys that are saying fire Douglas, I don't know what to say to you, but the guys with rational heads that are just a bit frustrated, I'm here. I'm hearing you. I mean, I understand, you know, we're seeing, you know, the Patriots made $80 million in guarantees in the first 3 hours of free agency. You know, we expected more things to be going on right now, but, yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else to say, man.
Yeah, I mean, you said Joe
Douglas.
You said
Joe
a lot.
Douglas is just doing his job.
Yeah, everybody, please make sure you do not take anything seriously in the chat of people reporting news. And any of my moderators I gave, please make sure you guys take away anybody spreading fake news in the chat. It's hard to keep up with it. But we got a donation from Benjamin. Thank you so much, brother. He says, I can't see us getting Watson anymore. You know, this is definitely going to be something that we need to put into consideration in free agency. It was a good question that was asked to Joe Douglas saying, hey, are free agents going to want to come to the Jets if they don't even know who our quarterback is? Because we don't know who our QB is. We are assuming that Sam's out the door. Are we drafting a quarterback? Or are we going for Watson? Nobody knows. So are we still getting Watson? You know, it's all up in the air. I don't think anything has changed from yesterday to today when it comes to Deshaun Watson coming to the Jets. So that's my stand on it. I think that there's still a chance of us getting him. And another donation from Mike. Thank you so much, brother.
Can I actually just touch on that real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I actually was thinking about this before. Connor Hughes tweeted 20 minutes ago. And I do kind of agree with this. I think this is a good point. By missing out on Joe Thuney and Corey Linsley, Joe Douglas is going to need those draft picks to round out this roster and help the Jets reach competence. Doesn't really bode well for trading them all away for one guy, no matter who that guy is. I kind of agree with that. It kind of broke my heart a little bit to read that because I think Connor's speaking some facts there. So I do think not hitting on Thuney or Linsley for that matter, you know, doesn't really bode well for trading away those early picks when we need to fill this roster.
Very good point. Another one from Mike. Sleeper free agent no one is talking about is Larry Wilford. That is very true. Ali, what do you know about Larry Wilford? And you think he's a sleeper free agent that the Jets should target?
I mean, I don't know much about him, but the Patriots are working the clock again. They're working on a potential deal with Kendrick Bourne, who is supposed to be a Jets target. So I feel like the Patriots are just taking everyone the Jets are actually targeting. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know anything much about Larry Wilford. I mean, I think he is a sleeper free agent. I've heard good things about him. I think he could be obviously a sleeper pick, a high, you know, a low risk, high reward type player for the Jets. But again, man, with the Douglas stuff, I don't know what to say. I feel like the Jets always win the offseason every year. And for the first time, the Jets are not winning the offseason, maybe to prep for the future for the first time in like ever. I mean, that's what probably is going to happen here. That's what Joe Douglas is trying to do right now. And I think getting through draft picks, getting through free agency, like very low key, I think that's how you build a franchise from the ground up, because this franchise is absolute crap right now. I mean, you need depth guys, and you need star players, and you need rookie guys, and young, talented wide receivers, talented quarterbacks, talented defense. You need all of that. So people who are taking Joe Douglas, man, I don't get it. I really don't get it, especially that you're 5 hours in and you still got free agents everywhere available. It's just ridiculous to think that. It sucks. It really does suck.
We got a $5 donation from DJ Sin6. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Proper building. His name is Joe, not Bob. Let's not win the offseason. Let's look at long-term. Look at CJ Mosley's contract. Name some mid-tier, please. Exactly what we're saying. This is exactly what we think that Joe Douglas is doing. Do you guys want to do what we did previously and go out there and sign the big fish like Tremaine, CJ, and Le'Veon and give them big contracts? Because you see where we are today? Yeah, that's where we are. That's what those crazy big contracts lead to. So DJ Sin is right. We need to use the money properly and spread it out. Instead of putting all of our money into 3 players, we put all of our money into 8 players and get depth around the roster. No, they're not the top tier. They're not the top end guys that we're going to go buy their jerseys, and we're not going to win the offseason. I'm so sick of winning the offseason. How many times have we been super excited? And I'm a culprit for it. Obviously I was super excited when we signed Le'Veon Bell and CJ Mosley. I was like, yes, I was. I'm not going to lie. But looking back on it, I was completely wrong. That was not the right decision. At the time, it felt like it was because we had Sam coming off his rookie deal. He needed a weapon like Le'Veon. But this Jets team is not in position to spend big on a lot of free agents. We need to use that money to spread it out and get depth players like a Jarrad Davis. No, I did not know who Jarrad Davis was. I don't know if he's going to be a bust. I don't know if he's going to be absolutely terrible or good. But that's what Douglas is going to do. He's going to look into the lower tier free agents and acquire depth and try to find a diamond in the rough type of player in free agency. And again, I sound like a broken record, and I'm sorry, but Douglas's mindset is to build through the draft. He uses free agency as the secondary option. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, the part of building through the draft takes time. Takes a long time. So we're still waiting on breaking news in terms of who we signed in free agency. We've only signed Jarrad Davis so far, and we are, what is it, 5 o'clock. Ryan, if you need to leave at any times, please feel free to do so, because you said you want to join in for an hour. We're over an hour. So again, if you need to go, just let us know, man.
I got another. I could stay for the hour and a half, or
awesome.
However long you guys are gonna do. I could do a half hour more.
All right, cool. Sounds good. So I noticed that we got 600 people in the stream right now. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys are new and you guys did not hit that thumbs up button, please make sure you do so. Let's get over 200 likes if you guys are enjoying today's stream with Ryan from Jets Talk, Jack, and Ali. And if you guys are not subscribed to Jets Media, please feel free to do so. Also, I link down below Ryan's YouTube channel as well if you guys want to check him out. But again, I'm assuming you're all subscribed to Ryan already. So I'm going to go on Twitter right now and see if there's any breaking news, because I'm sick of refreshing Twitter and seeing nothing. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? So what else do you guys even want to talk about? Is it about, is it a receiver? Is it a running back? Is it an edge rusher? How much money is it going to cost?
All of them.
Everything we keep talking about Joe Douglas's approach, right? And then not spending big in free agency. That is what we think, and that's what he says. And it's also interesting because I tweeted this out earlier today. This Jets team is going through probably the biggest change ever. And I don't know about Jets history, but in a long time when it comes to coaching staff and players. We're going to have so many, especially a new quarterback in place, because it looks like they're moving on from Sam, even though it's possible they still keep him. But right now, it seems like the Jets are going to completely change everything. They gutted their coaching staff, obviously. They completely stole all the great coaches from San Francisco that I love. And now we're getting a brand new player. So it's going to be a completely overhaul. So, I just want – if I'm the Jets right now, when it comes to signing players that don't cost too much money, but that will provide immediate impact, I'm looking at Jamal Williams and Curtis Samuel on offense. I like those two players. I don't think they'll cost too much. What about you, Ali? Do you think would you like Jamal Williams? I know you're a big guy on Marlon Mack. So, just what are you predicting? I guess we can just get into predictions because, again, we are 5 hours into free agency. The Jets have signed one player. And we find out that they're potentially moving on from CJ Mosley. So there's a lot to talk about.
Regarding Jamal Williams, I do think he's a great fit for this offense. He knows this offense very well, the Shanahan offense, obviously. So I think he would be a great fit. I think that's the low-level type running back that the Jets need with that punch, especially if you get a rookie running back in the draft. That's where I think could be a good duo there. And you have to have Michael Pirine and Ty Johnson fighting for a roster spot. For the wide receiver standpoint, I think they could either go Curtis Samuel. I really feel like they're going to go after Juju. I think they're really going to sign Juju Smith and bring him in. I'm not a huge fan of him. He's not my top receiver, but I think Juju would fit well with this team. I think he'll finally have the spotlight. I think, in Pittsburgh, his spotlight was kind of taken away besides his TikTok dances and stuff like that and social media presence. But obviously, he is still a very talented receiver. I mean, you don't get me wrong. He just brings a lot of, fame and spotlight with him. So I think he could be a smart pickup in a way, but he's a little bit of a risk, a little bit because of that side of things. But he is still a talented receiver. He still can make plays, and I think he could use another shot. Curtis Samuel, I think now his price has just skyrocketed because of how many people want him. I think half the league, like Ryan said earlier, half the league wants him, especially with Kenny Golladay. Half the league wants him. It's going to be a bidding war. I don't know how far Joe Douglas will go in the bidding war. I think he probably went with Joe Thuney in the bidding war and then lost there too. It depends how much it is, and I think they're going to end up with one or two wide receivers. I expect that to happen because the Jets have absolutely no wide receivers right now besides Denzel Mims and Jamison Crowder, who Jamison Crowder could get cut. We don't know. So it's all over the place right now. But those are the guys I want. I want either Jamal Williams as a running back or Marlon Mack or Juju Smith-Schuster coming or Curtis Samuel. And Golladay would be the dream, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, so let's switch gears and talk about the defense. So, Ryan, in particular, the cornerback position, because I don't think we talked about this position in the entire stream. Who do you think the Jets should target in free agency at the cornerback spot?
So I was big on the 49ers cornerback. So Sherman just bringing in a culture change over here. He's never played on the East Coast. He's always been, Stanford, Seattle, 49ers. So I don't know if I see him moving from West to East. I would like him as a culture fit. I think there's another, two San Francisco cornerbacks that are still on the free agent market. So I would be open to bringing in any one of them. Darby from Washington was with Philadelphia prior. It's actually someone I had talked about last year as a really cheap option. He played really well this past year, so he'll be a little bit more expensive, but I could see us possibly rolling the dice on him. Cornerback-wise, I'm not super sold on the free agency class. I really think this is going to be somewhere we hit in the first two rounds. Whether you draft one in, pick 23, pick 34, or trade Sam for, say, like a second and use that pick on it. I think Asante Samuel Jr. is someone you could look at. J.C. Horn, like we've brought up before, are guys you could be looking at. But as far as free agency goes, Darby's the one that I think might make sense with the Douglas connection.
Another donation from $5 donation. Thank you so much. We went through change, and now we're hunting for a Super Bowl. A Harris C. Samuel and draft-heavy defense. Washington football team, we coming. Y'all jumping on board. Okay, I like it. We'll see, man. I think that
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I'm down for Curtis Samuel. What do you think about this, Jack? You down?
Yeah, we went through change now, hunting for a Super Bowl. Anthony Harris, I assume that is Curtis Samuel, and draft heavy defense. I think this is a Washington football team fan, though, is it not?
Might be.
Hashtag WFT, we coming. I think this is a football team fan right here, actually.
Maybe
But
it is. Shout out to football team.
How about we take Curtis Samuel? You
And you give us. We'll give you Sam.
Harris. You could take Harris. We'll have Samuel. And yeah, we'll go our separate ways, and we'll actually take the 19th pick for Sam.
19th pick.
So there you go.
Imagine.
And then let's go Washington football team, baby.
That's funny.
19th pick for Sam, and I will become a football team fan on the side.
So let's talk about Juju Smith-Schuster because he's an interesting name. I saw a rumor this morning that the Raiders and the Jets are calling him and talking about signing him. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. It's a rumor. So when it comes to Juju, for me, I don't know his price tag because I just don't see Joe Douglas opening up the bank for big name guys at the playmaker position like Juju because I feel like he understands that he can get a similar player in the draft. And that's what he did with Denzel Mims last year in the second round because Juju was a second-round pick. Kenny Golladay, I'm pretty sure, was his third-round pick. So he understands, and that's his whole mindset of building through the draft. Why would I go out there and spend big-time money on a guy when I can go get something similar on a rookie deal that's cheaper in the second or third round? And we have the 34th pick, which is basically a late first-round pick, and we have 2 third-round picks. So we have so much draft capital. So that's where I feel like Joe Douglas's mindset is when it comes to some of these positions. You know, when it comes to some positions like the edge rusher and the defensive line, that's something we should tackle in the free agency and the offensive line, in my opinion. But we will see. No way on a USC quarterback. Yeah, so he does not want Sam Darnold. Too bad. He's going to be there, man. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, who else you want as your quarterback? Who's going to be there at 19 you want? Patriots are taking Mac Jones. Trey Lance is going to be gone. Who do you want? Trask? Okay.
No, they're signing Mitch Trubisky. What do you mean?
Oh, that just gives me all sorts of warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess it's cheaper than giving us 19 for Sam. So Mitch versus Sam isn't as crazy as, I don't know.
Mitch for Sam. Yeah, man, it's crazy. The free agency market with quarterbacks. I don't think the Jets are really going to be in on anybody besides Nick Mullins, maybe because of the, like we mentioned earlier. But let's get back into the conversation about CJ Mosley because this is definitely interesting. Because as we know, teams are interested in trading for CJ Mosley. So I know we already went over this, but we got a lot of new people in the stream. So Ali, do you want to give us your peace of mind about this and what you expect? Do you think that CJ Mosley will get moved? And why do you think the Jets really want to move on from him?
I don't think in the end he'll get moved. Just because of the contract situation. I don't know which team will take his contract. Obviously, as Joe Douglas always says, he's gonna listen to offers, like he always does. So, I think it would be a good thing if the Jets could get some value out of him, get some picks because Douglas loves picks. And hopefully they can develop from there. And obviously Mosley hasn't done anything with us for the past 2 years besides that Buffalo 2 quarters. I think it was 2 quarters. So, I mean, you get it done if it's possible. If not, it's whatever. Maybe he can maybe get back into the good grace of Jets fans this season, playing on the field. So, I don't see it happening. The trade, but we'll see. The Jets seem interested because they're answering phone calls. Rap Sheet just said that, Ian Rapport. So we'll see how it goes.
Kendrick Bourne just signed with the Patriots.
Did he?
Officially?
Yeah, that's what it looks like at least.
He was expected. They're putting like an offer in down, but he probably will be signed.
Is it official yet?
It's not
Maybe
official.
It's not
yet.
official. I don't know. I'm scrolling through like my feed and it seems like people are excited about, not us excited about, but other people are.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean that's fine with me though. That's a name that wasn't really on any of our radar, I feel like.
Well,
no, not at all.
Just for scheme fit because he was with the 49ers. I feel like the 49ers have so many free agents. So we're definitely going to get a lot of free agents from the 49ers. So
gutting that entire organization.
I'm down. I mean, they're in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So keep it up. We got their whole coaching staff, and we got a lot of players coming this way. Well, at least we think. Nothing's official yet. So, Ryan, do you want to just give a last piece of mind on CJ Mosley, and do you expect him to get moved? And if he does get traded, what do we get back? Or, I know the answer to this already from you, but would it be dumb to move on from him? Like, do you think they should trade him?
It depends, because if you're getting maybe a 3rd-round pick for him, I think that's probably the teetering point. Like, if you're getting above a 3rd-round pick, yeah, moving on from him. I don't think he wanted to play here for the Jets last year. Now, maybe the coaching change has changed his tune. If it hasn't, and the team still feels like, oh, he just didn't want to like deal with us, because we saw pictures of him out at a bar. I don't know if that was actually during COVID or not, or if it was an older picture. But I don't love CJ. I love like the 3 quarters of play that we got out of him for last year or 2 years ago now. But if you can get a high enough draft pick that it makes it worth it, because right now it's like, all right, he's $6 million or 7. I guess he's 7.5 against our cap this year. So for me, I think it makes more sense for the Jets to hold on to him for the season. But if we're offered a high enough pick, I'm cool with moving on from him too. I don't think he wanted to be here. I think Douglas moves on from guys like Le'Veon Bell, like Tremaine Johnson, like all the guys that McCagnon signed. I think it kind of resets it to his sort of watch. And I also think there's an issue with how much Mosley gets paid. Like, not so much that he's getting paid, but that the Jets are paying him as much to just sit on the bench or to not do anything. And I think that sort of sits a little, maybe not, doesn't sit well with some of the other players on the team that are probably more deserving of his money than Mosley is.
Interesting. We got the Washington football team to chime in again. I'm going to roll with Heineke for now. He's a dude. I wouldn't mind Fitzpatrick as a backup, like Zach Wilson, but that's not happening for us. Yeah, Zach Wilson looked like he might be on the Jets, potentially. That's what 80% of Jets fans want.
Didn't Fitzpatrick retire? I thought I saw something that he retired.
I thought so.
Who knows, man? Hopefully not, because I love watching him. I love rooting for him.
Hopefully
he doesn't go to the AFC East, which it doesn't look like he will, because
he's got to go to the Patriots. He's got to finish the
that's what I'm saying.
Circle, right?
He's not going there now because they got Cam, even though they're going to bring in another quarterback. But
they're going to draft Jones.
I want to hear your thoughts on this. It's not really free agency related, but it's definitely Jets related because it's the biggest topic. What are you doing with the quarterback position? Is it Zach Wilson? Is it Justin Fields? Is it Sam Darnold? What are you doing?
Are you asking?
What do you prefer? Yeah, I'm asking you because I kind of know what Jack and Ali's mindset are because we talk about this weekly. So I'm just curious to hear what you think they should do at the quarterback position and what makes the most sense.
So for me, what makes the most sense is to draft a new quarterback. And that's not to say it's necessarily the best option. Like, I think you could know what you have in Sam or might know what the potential of Sam is. And if you trade down from 2 and roll with Sam, if Sam is the guy and can be a franchise quarterback, that's the fastest way to success, hands down. But I think with Douglas being on a 5-year contract, Salah being on a 5-year contract, and the number 2 pick being on a 5-year contract, that makes a lot more sense. They're going to draft a quarterback at 2. I do expect it to be Zach Wilson, and I think they'll trade Sam for like a 2nd-round pick because a 5-year rookie contract with that cheap, first 4 years is so much more valuable than 1 year of Sam Darnold hoping he can go from the 32nd ranked quarterback to a top 10 ranked quarterback. Because you're going to need a top 10 ranked quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And unless you are fine with just sort of sticking around in mediocrity and not winning a Super Bowl, I think the risk of Sam Darnold is too great when you're sitting there at number 2, because it's like the same thing that happened back in 2017. We took Jamal Adams because we had Christian Hackenberg sitting on the bench, and we're like, oh, he could be the quarterback of the future. We're looking at the future draft. We're looking at Sam Darnold, Baker, Jackson, Allen, Rosen, all those guys in next year's draft, and we miss on Mahomes and Watson. So you're in position to take the franchise quarterback now. Take Zach Wilson if you're in love with Zach Wilson, and just don't even think about it. Because if you roll with Sam Darnold, an easier schedule, more free agents, more draft picks, it's going to be a more talented team. You're going to get to 6-10, 8-8, somewhere around there. And now you're picking 12, 13, 14, 15, and have to trade those 3 first-round picks that you have up to go get a quarterback if that team wants to trade out of that quarterback slot. So for me, I'm taking the quarterback at 2. It just makes a ton of sense. I know I love Sam Darnold. Heck, I bought his jersey. I really like the guy. It just doesn't make sense for the Jets anymore.
Yeah, man, I agree. It's going to be very interesting, man. It's going to be very interesting. Maybe they plan on letting Cameron Clark compete for a starting guard spot. Yeah, so he redshirted his first year. He was somebody that everybody was excited for when it comes to the Jets rookie class, and everybody was pounding the table for him to get some minutes when he finally got healthy at the end of the year. And he never saw the field. He never played one snap. And maybe he is the future. That's kind of what we hope. But, the tape shows his rookie season, he dominated against Clemson. Whatever you want to take with that with a grain of salt, okay. But as of right now, we do not know what Cameron Clark is in the NFL. So he's a big question mark. But you're right, man. Maybe the Jets front office do see a lot of potential in Cameron Clark because that is a Joe Douglas draft pick. During a Jets Central video on the Jarrad Davis signing, Thuney signed with the Jets. The pain on his face came through my screen. I think you meant Thuney signed with the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I heard that Jet Central made a video while Thuney got signed with the Chiefs. So it happened live on here too. We were live. We were live on this stream when it happened, and all of us were like, because like I said, you guys know me. I think that Joe Douglas is not going to open up the bank and sign big bucks. That's just my opinion. But I did say if there was going to be a player that he does sign for a lucrative deal, it's Joe Thuney. That's why I felt like we missed out, because it's just that he's a definition of a Joe Douglas guy. He shares the same first name. He's never missed a snap. He's 28, but that ship has sailed. I don't want to talk about Joe Thuney anymore because that's definitely somebody I wanted. But listen, we're going to go into this offseason, and we're actually in the middle of the offseason as we speak, 5.5 hours in to be exact. It's rough. It's rough because we got to be patient. We got to sit back and let the whole process play out. We want to know who we're going to sign already. And listen, isn't it like the tampering period is legal now, but doesn't like free agency officially start on Wednesday at 4 p.m. or is that just when like the deals become official?
That is officially when the new league year starts, 4 o'clock on Wednesday. They can, I don't know if they sign deals in principle right now or if it's actually official right now, but I know you're allowed to talk to other free agents at this point. So I think they probably become official at 4 p.m. on Wednesday.
Yeah, so people in the chat are asking, why are the Jets so cheap? Why do they not want to spend the big bucks? And I think the reason is because Joe Douglas is not going to open up the bank for a player unless he is 100% confident that this guy is, number one, a really good character guy that's going to fit into this locker room. Because how many times have you heard, for everybody that watches the press conferences of Douglas, how many times have you heard Joe Douglas prioritize character in players, how they are as a person? It's more than just their talent on the field. And Joe Douglas is not just going to sign players for their talent. He's not going to look at their film and say, that guy's worth 4 years, $80 million. He's going to need to understand them as a person. And Joe Douglas is not going to sign players for big deals unless he genuinely feels like he is going to come to this team and help us on and off the field. So that's why they're being cheap with their money. They're being smart. There's a difference of being cheap and being smart with the money. And Douglas is really setting this team up to have a lot of flexibility in the future for trades and just being smart. And like I said, over and over again, I'm sorry, but it sounds like I'm a broken record, but the goal is to build through the draft, and that's what they want to do. The Jets are not one or two players away from winning it all. If we wanted to be, the Patriots, what they're doing this year, and say we did sign 4 players for big deals, we're going to be in cap hell for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? Like that's just not how you build a sustainable winner. For the teams that go out there and you see all the teams are in cap hell right now, those are mostly good teams. You know what I mean? Like the teams that are, unless you're the Giants, but there's a lot of teams out there that don't have a lot of cap space. It's because they're using their cap space on good players. The Jets, obviously they want to become good, but you become good through the draft. And that's how you really build. You want to get value. And that's how it is. That's how I look at it. And again, guys, if you disagree with what I'm saying, if you disagree with Ryan, Jack, or Elise says, that is totally okay. This is just a platform where we voice our opinions and everybody's entitled to what they think. Jets Twitter is a war, honestly. Everybody has disagreements on there. Everybody says, I want this quarterback. I want that quarterback. Joe Douglas sucks. I want him fired, yada, yada, yada. But it's how I look at it, man. It's just really how I look at it. Do you have anything to add on to that, Ryan? Because there's a lot of people that are going, head to head right now, butting heads.
Yeah, look, I understand. I completely get why fans would be frustrated and not signing the big name because everyone's playing Madden. It's let's get the top guard, let's get the top pass rusher, let's get the top wide receiver, let's trade all these picks to go do that. I understand it. And then, like you said earlier in the stream, Tremaine Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, CJ Mosley. Like, keep rattling off free agent signings that the Jets have had over the last few years where it's like, oh, wow, we got this guy for a bunch of money. Well, when has it really worked? Like, we should be looking at free agency as a way to supplement the rest of our team. I do think edge rusher is going to be where we see our first big splash. I don't think it's going to be at this point interior offensive line. I'd be a little surprised. I know Trey Turner's still out there. Maybe Warford or whatever. Although I feel like Warford was the guy you wanted like 3 years ago, not necessarily like now. But I don't know. I'm not worried about what Joe Douglas is doing. I think it is the right move. Build through the draft and then sign those second and third tier free agents where the bang for your buck is significantly more than someone like a Albert Hainsworth or a not that Muhammad Wilkerson hit free agency, but like someone like that, like not blowing your whole load in one player and spreading it across, the entire team. Because we have a lot of holes to fill, even with the $60 or $70 million in cap space.
Yeah, man, exactly. Like if we had like one or two holes to fill, and it makes so much sense to open up the bank for those players. But the problem with the Jets right now is we have so many holes. So the mindset of the front office is to use that money into, like I said earlier, instead of signing 3 players for big money, we're going to sign 12 players for cheaper money because we have a lot of holes to fill, and we cannot sacrifice our money into just putting in one area when this area will not be good. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I really look at it. Prison Mike with the donation. I think Kenny Galladay is going to go to the Giants. They want another Plaxico Burress. Jets trade down and amass picks, and please don't drop the soap. Okay, that was a good way to end it.
Speaking of ending it, I'll leave you with this. I would be cool with Galladay. I don't think it makes sense for the Jets to sign him. I don't think Douglas is going to sign him. Don't drop the soap. I'll say that much. All right, guys.
All right, Ryan.
I got to hop
for joining. Appreciate that,
so
man.
Much for having me on, guys.
Peace out, bro.
Good luck on your show tonight, man. Peace out. That's Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7. If you guys are not subscribed to him, I left it down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Listen, man, it's just a long offseason for the Jets, right? We were just all the speculations, all this hype going in, and now we are 5.5 hours in. And to be honest with you guys, people that think I'm making excuses, I really expected this. I expected this exact thing to happen. I expected Douglas to be smart. I'm going to be completely honest, though. Yes, I wanted Joe Thuney. If I wanted the Jets to open up the bank, Joe Thuney was the man that I wanted, and now he's gone. So I don't know what Joe Douglas's mindset is. Obviously, this is all what I think and my expectations are for the Jets in free agency. Could I be wrong? 100%. Do I think that I'm completely 100% right in everything I say? Absolutely not. It's all opinions, guys. If you disagree, that is totally okay. So going into the last little section of free agency, or rather the stream, what are you guys expecting? Ali, who the hell are the Jets going to sign tonight at least? Are we going to expect any signings tonight, or should we wait for another 2 to 3 days? You know what I mean? Like, is Joe Douglas going to sit back and wait? Are they going to go out and get a big fish like an Ngakoue? Are they going to spend money, or are they just going to sit back and wait and let this, all the top tier free agents get off the board?
I mean, the timetable is absolutely like from tonight to like 2 weeks from now for how much free agents the Jets will bring in. I really just don't see. I mean, people forget this is a 2-win Jets team for the last 2 seasons. They have an unproven head coach who is coming from, he has high expectations, but he's still unproven. He's pretty much a rookie head coach. So we don't know about that. Plus, the Jets have no clear indication of who their quarterback is. Is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be a rookie quarterback? Are they trading for Deshaun Watson? We have absolutely no idea. There's so many question marks, and free agents, are going to get scared by that. And sometimes it's just not going to go down to the wire and getting that one top tier guy. What I've been saying, though, there's a lot of free agents. There's a lot of quality free agents you can still grab. And I think, I think they're definitely going to get 1 or 2 big name guys, like sort of big name guys. But like I said, this does not surprise me at all. I mean, people have I thought it would be a different approach this season with the amount of, I feel like he put in the money. I think he put the effort in, but I think he could have done more to Thuney. Joe Thuney, I think he pretty much said, "Oh, I'm getting paid and I'm gonna go win a Super Bowl next year." That's pretty much what his thought process was. So that was out of the picture. Jets were not in that. Lindsey, he should have gone a little bit more aggressive in and should have maybe put in more an effort to get another lineman. But it is what it is. It's not even 6 hours yet. There's a lot of free agents still available. We still got the draft. We got a lot of ways to improve this team. Just gotta be patient. We gotta just see what Joe Douglas is actually thinking, and when it's all said and done after free agency draft is done, then we'll assess it. Then we'll see what exactly did he do. There's still a lot of positions he can still assess: cornerback, wide receiver, running back, edge rusher. There's so many positions, and they're good guys out there still. I mean, there's talented guys that can make impact week one. So, I mean, just be patient. Obviously, it's not very patient for Jets Twitter right now. I mean, I just can't be on Twitter right now. But you know, it's a process, and obviously, people should not be this surprised. And this is how Joe Douglas does stuff. His mentors did the same thing. So you just got to look at it that way.
Hey, man, this is a very good take because I always correlated to the Knicks. This is very true. This is just like the Knicks. No top-tier free agent are going to come to a 2-14 team in a league where they are constantly terrible. Gain some respectability first, and then free agents will come. This is a very good take. First of all, another thing that this brought up to me, maybe these players that all the people in the chat want the Jets to go get, what if they don't want to come to the Jets? Is it Joe Douglas or is it players just not wanting to come here? You ever thought about that? Like all these free agents, you think it's guaranteed? Like Joe Douglas calls and offers them a big deal, they're going to come. Not everybody wants to come to a team that just went 2-14. And that person that just said that connected to the Jets, he's completely right. You need to build a culture, build a winning, sustainable organization before top-tier free agents even consider coming to the Jets. And now that we actually have a respectable coaching staff in place, we have everything that we can to build that. We need to get, sign in some guys. Like, I'm sorry if you guys are not basketball fans or Knicks fans, but that's okay. I'm just going to connect it to it real quick because what the New York Knicks are doing this year, they got a brand new coaching staff, a competent one, and they did not do anything in free agency. They did not sign anybody big, nobody. And they got a lot of players for cheap deals, one-year deals, and they're a playoff team right now. Will that continue? I have no idea. But they're a good team right now. They're above 500, the New York Knicks, and they're becoming a team that people are attracted to in free agency. And that's what's going to happen in the future. What the New York Jets are trying to do right now is do the same thing. Remain cap flexibility. The Knicks have the most cap space in the league right now for next year. And they're set up with cap space. They're very similar organizations right now. Very similar. So the Jets need to develop the team within the organization and let the coaching staff blossom a star. The Knicks, all of a sudden, Julius Randle has blossomed into a star because of coaching. So now we can have somebody in the coaching staff from Robert Saleh can develop one of our own talent to become a Pro Bowl player. Quinnen Williams. I think that's the guy that could become a Pro Bowl talent under Coach Rob Saleh. And I love that approach. I love that he actually said that because you need to build a sustainable winner within the draft and going out there free agent and drafting, and signing guys that are not top tier, because top tier free agents do not want to come to a 2-14 team. We need to win with lower tier guys in order before top tier guys come. Does that make any sense? Would you have anything to add about that, Jack? Because that's how I feel like the Jets need to do in order for them to be able to sign big ticket free agents. Because just because we have a lot of money does not mean big guys want to come here.
Yeah, you're totally right, man. And like with Thuney, for example, obviously it sucks and we all thought he was coming here, but how are you going to compare the current Jets situation to the current Chiefs situation? He's going to go to the Chiefs and instantly be competing for a Super Bowl, a part of, one of the most exciting offenses in NFL history. And, he's going to be a part of a great organization right away. It's obviously money talks, but, these guys have made it to the pros. They're multi-millionaires. They're going to be set for the rest of their lives. They want to win games as well. They want to go compete for championships. So, that really does play a part in free agency. Obviously, just being able to write the biggest check isn't always going to get the job done. It depends on the player and just the person in general. But, we have a long way to go in as far as turning the ship around here in New York goes, man. It's going to be a slow process. We have a GM who we know is going to be focusing on, trying to hit on his draft picks and acquiring as many draft picks as he can and try and build this team through rookie deals and then, supplement in free agency where we need to. Obviously, people are a little bit frustrated right now, and to each their own, but we still have a lot of time to hit on receivers and edge rushers and cornerbacks. Not everybody's thrilled with the I forget his name already, Jarrad Davis. But at least the linebacker position is on Joe Douglas's mind. I know it's not the sexiest signing in the world, but at least, especially now that we hear that all these phone calls are coming in about CJ Mosley, at least Joe Douglas is doing his due diligence, doing his job. He knows where we stand as an organization right now. So he's not going to go out there and, financially compete with the freaking Chiefs who are, selling Joe Thuney on, going to a Super Bowl this year with $16 million as well. We're not going to compete with that. So, it's just, it's kind of typical for what I thought would be occurring at this point. I did think there would be some more news. But it can't all happen at once. The reason why we suck historically is because we overpay for free agents that never end up working out in the long term for this team. We think that, Le'Veon Bell is going to fix this team. CJ Mosley is going to fix this team. I don't even want to mention Tremaine Johnson, but I have to. We cannot take the Mike McCagnon route because we see where so many years of doing that has left us. And here we are once again questioning who our quarterback is going to be next year. And this just cannot continue to happen. So you don't instantly fix a team by spending all the money you have in free agency instantly. The beginning of free agency is where you tend to overpay, as it quiets down in the next couple days, a week. That's when you see guys, signing for maybe a little bit less than you originally thought they'd be signing for and stuff like that. Joe Douglas is just taking his time. Obviously it sucks that we lost out on the best two interior offensive linemen, but I just think now that means that we'll be 100% tackling that with the 23rd pick, I hope. So, I think Joe Douglas is just, doing his job exactly how he should be doing it. I do believe that the due diligence is done on every phone call that's made. I think he was obviously in on Joe Thuney, but it just didn't work out numbers wise. He just didn't want to overpay and compete with an organization like the Kansas City Chiefs, who have so much more promising things to offer Thuney. So I know it's frustrating, but I just advise everybody to, try and keep a cool head about all this stuff. It's still, 5.5, almost 6 hours into free agency. The new league year doesn't even start until Wednesday, when the deals are, made official. So, there's a lot of time for moves to be made. We still got time to hit on receivers. I still got faith in Curtis Samuel. I'm eager to see what we'll do with the cornerback position. I think we'll definitely draft a cornerback. I would like to see Richard Sherman sign with the New York Jets, and we got Richard Sherman and Bryce Hall and whoever we end up drafting. Edge rusher is a very interesting position. There's still some good names available. So
talking about pass rusher, sorry to break it to you, but Yannick Ngakoue signs with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh man.
So that's another edge rusher off the market. So I don't know. I don't know the contract details for this yet, but we'll have to wait to see that. But listen, man, you hit it on the nail. I really do agree with everything you said there, Jack. I really do.
Thank you.
We have to realize that just because we have money does not mean these top free agents want to come to the Jets. You guys realize that it's a two-way street. It's not that that Joe Douglas is interested, it guarantees them coming. The player needs to be interested in coming to the Jets. And what do we have right now for them to want to come here? We have an unanswered question mark at quarterback, and we have all this money. We're coming off a 2-win season. So I don't understand the whole narrative of blaming Joe Douglas for this, because you rather the Jets overpay, because the only way we get these top tier free agents is if we're like in a bidding war and we overpay. That's the only way we get big ticket free agents, is if we overpay. The only way we can get big ticket free agents for reasonable prices is if we start winning ball games. And Joe Douglas said himself he wants to build through the draft, and he has a lot of pressure. he, if you said you need to hit on all your draft picks, you need to be able to do that. And we saw what he did in his first draft. He had some great picks. He had some terrible picks. So this is his second draft as a Jets general manager coming up, and it's going to depict his future as a Jets GM. If he messes up this, he also has the biggest decision of his life at the quarterback position, whether we're moving on from Sam or drafting a quarterback or going for Deshaun Watson. This is all going to determine if Joe Douglas truly is the GM, right? And I feel like this free agency is not what you need to worry about with Joe Douglas. You need to look at the draft and let that play out, because if his mindset is built through the draft and he misses on his draft picks, then it's a disaster. Then Joe Douglas is not the guy. I mean, it's that simple. So breaking news that the Yannick Ngakoue is going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Ali, I'll let you give you the floor and give you your reaction.
I mean, Ryan would be pretty pissed off right now. He probably was looking at his phone right now and is pissed off. I just want to know what the contract is. That's what I'm trying to figure out what the contract is for him. Depending on how the contract is, I think Douglas just didn't push for him. I mean, there's a lot of pass rushers. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, Joe Douglas not being aggressive has shown. Obviously, a lot of factors come into this, that players do not want to come to a 2-14 team for the last 2 years. Like I said earlier, a new head coach, a rookie head coach that we have absolutely no idea about. And then, we don't know who our quarterback is. So that's a lot of question marks everywhere. And I don't know what players like, I want to go to the Jets. I really, really want to go to this team. Like, I probably no player has said that. Money might talk, but do they want to be like, yes, I want this team. I want to go to New York. Like, did Joe Thuney was like, I want to go to Jets instead of Kansas City Chiefs. Like, no one would ever say that. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, so on Instagram, actually, that there was Pro Football Chase that reported the Jarrad Davis news, and Arthur Mullet responded with the laughing emoji. And then someone asked him, why is this so funny? He said, because they should have gave the money to Neville Hewitt, who's a top 10 tackler. So players are being a little bit, edgy about what's going on with the Jets too. I mean, Mekhi Becton was tweeted out being like absolutely dead and then like tired. So I don't know what's going on. Like, that's plain and simple. We don't have no idea what Joe Douglas is doing. Is he just losing the war? Is he just like not putting much money? Is he just hoarding the money? Is that what he's trying to do? I don't know what's going on, but he needs to be more aggressive. I mean, I know he's not going to make the big time moves, but he needs to put an effort on getting a couple of these guys, because you don't overpay guys. You're not going to go all out, but you need to spend a little bit of money. That's what you need to do. You can't just hoard all the money. So, and it's kind of looking like that right now. Obviously, it's early, so we'll see how it's going. But, right now, I think Joe Douglas is sleeping right now.
Yeah, it's either Joe Douglas is sleeping or all the top free agents are not interested in the Jets. It's one of those two. And a lot of people need to realize that just because Joe Douglas calls somebody on the phone and says, we're willing to give you this money, does not mean that player is down. Maybe Yannick Ngakoue was like, no shot, I'm going to the Jets. And how is that on Joe Douglas? You know what I mean? Like that's the one thing I don't understand with everybody, hating on Douglas. We don't have anything in stone that attracts free agents right now, but besides our brand new head coach, who seems like to be a lovable guy around the NFL. I feel like that's the only way we would attract free agents is people want to come play for Robert Saleh. So it's either we do that or we overpay for players. The only way we get top tier guys in free agency is honestly if we overpay them and get into a bidding war. So that's what it really comes down to. Yannick Ngakoue is officially gone, and he's going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Jack, what's your thoughts on Ngakoue going to the Raiders?
Yeah, I mean, as I was in the middle of saying, we still have time to hit on an edge rusher. Probably the next biggest name in the list goes somewhere else. So, it's frustrating, man. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in Joe Douglas's office right now. He's probably sweating. He's probably drenched in sweat. With his big bald head just glistening. But it's frustrating, but it's not a make or break thing. Hendrickson is probably next up on the list. So let's see if that can get done, man. Because we desperately need an edge rusher, man. I don't think we'll be able to. I mean, it depends how the rest of this free agency shakes out, but I really think we're gonna have to go with a guard at 23, since missing out on Thuney and Lindsley. So I don't see us being able to take an edge rusher in the first round. Obviously it's the draft, so you never know when who's going to pop off and who's going to have a great career. We all know Brady was like the 199th pick, something like that. But it is a little frustrating. The frustration is kind of brewing more and more as time goes on. But I'll stick to what I said before. We just gotta put our trust in Joe Douglas, because what's the other option? We're not gonna fire. No, he's not going anywhere. He will be our GM for this season, 100%. So the only thing we can do is just have faith that he's got some sort of a plan. Maybe his whole the Cam Clark thing was a good point before. Who knows what's gonna happen with that guy? Maybe they have high hopes for him, and I don't know. Maybe he'll find his way into the starting lineup this year. But it is it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. We would have thought, we all were thinking that it was just going to be a super, super active day for the Jets, and here we are with Jarrad Davis and talks of trading CJ Mosley 6 hours in to free agency. So it is a little frustrating. I get where the frustration is coming from, but we have no other choice but to just sit here and just continue to trust Joe Douglas. We sound like broken records at this point, but his plan is to build this team through the draft. That is his plan. He has said that multiple times.
Preach.
As Ali said before, that's what his mentors before him did, and that's what he knows. He was an Eagles scout, and then they won the Super Bowl next year. So just, I don't know. It's tough, man. I get the frustration, and coming off of such a terrible year like we all just witnessed, we're hoping that today was just going to be super positive vibes, and it seems to be like the opposite of that so far. It's just like horrible vibes, honestly. But
it's
man,
horrible vibes because the fans are they want to win the offseason. And I'd expected this. I'm not that upset. I'm sorry, but this is exactly what I expected. Obviously there are some players I'm upset about. When I said I'm not upset, I'm not upset as a whole. There's some players I wanted. Joe Thuney is probably the only one I really want to spend money on, and I'm upset he did not choose the Jets. And he obviously didn't even consider the Jets because he went to the Chiefs. But, I'm so tired of winning the offseason. That's all I got to say. I'm tired of it, and I'm happy we're not winning the offseason because it's never worked. We've won the offseason all the time, multiple times, and I'm jumping for joy during free agency, and then the season comes around and we look like absolute terrible. So I'm not saying that guarantees us winning this year, but I'm happy we're not doing what we previously did. So that's all I got to say. The Jets still have a lot of room to grow in terms of what we're doing. There's a lot of holes to fill, and they're going to be active in tonight, the next day. You never know who they're going to bring in. I still want guys like Curtis Samuel. I want guys like Jamal Williams. I want guys like Richard Sherman. And I think it's going to be crazy. You guys can say I'm making excuses, but I'm not. This is exactly what Joe Douglas said he's going to do. So I'm not surprised. I mean, it's exactly what he said he's going to do. He wants to build this thing through the draft, like Jack said. And if you want to build a sustainable winner for the long term, that's exactly what you do. If you want to win the offseason and hand out crazy big deals like the Patriots just did, and you cannot sign big time players in the next year or the next year or the next year, then you're setting yourselves up to go all in. If you want to have the mindset of short-term thinking and you rather go out there and spend all of our money on big three players, and you want to go all in and win in 2021, and we go 7-9 or 8-8, and then the next year we're just in cap hell, that's the future you're setting up if you go all in on 3 players in the big time market. What Joe Douglas is doing is not that. He's not a short-term mindset. What Mike McCagnon did was, I'm fighting for my job. If I don't not win next year, I'm going to get fired. So I'm going to hand out these big deals. I'm going to give CJ and Le'Veon a lot of money because I need star power and I need to win, because if I don't win, I'm fired. And the Johnsons let him do that, and he ended up being fired anyway because it was the wrong decision. So if you guys rather Douglas to hand out big-time money to 4 different players and for us to be, decent next year, and then it sets up and then our future is hindered from it, I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather be patient and be thinking in the long term and have a long-term vision rather than go all in 2021. I'm not worried about 2021. I'm worried about 2021 and beyond. That's how I look at it as a Jets fan, and that's putting me at ease. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I think that Joe Douglas is doing the right thing by being quote-unquote cheap right now, because the only way him being cheap in free agency would be looked at in a positive way is if he hits on his draft picks. Then he makes up for it. If he goes cheap in free agency and his draft is a bust, then you're right. Joe Douglas isn't the guy. But that's how I look at it. Again, if you guys disagree, it's totally okay. I'm just here voicing my opinions. Ali and Jack as well. And everybody on Jets Twitter is butting heads. This is a time where we're all super passionate and we all can agree on one thing. We just want the New York Jets to start winning football games. You know what I mean? And we're not the ones making the decision. We can critique anybody. We can critique the guys making the decisions. But I'm chilling. I think that this is exactly what I expected. When I woke up this morning, I knew that this is going to be a day where Jets fans are going to be upset because we're not getting the big ticket free agents, and I'm sick of it. I don't want to win free agency anymore. I want to win for the long term. So that's how I'm looking at it. Ali, do you have anything to add?
Nah, I mean, you guys both went on a rant, and perfect rant, and you just gotta be patient, man. That's all I gotta say. The Jets have never been a winning team. No one has been scared of playing the New York Jets. It's simple, and to build an actual team is you need to build it correctly, and that's what Douglas, I think, is trying to do. And that's what working the draft does, and getting guys for depth. We early compared the basketball team to football. On football, you got to field a 53-man roster. You need 53 guys on this team that could make an impact in winning football games. You can't put that on one guy, especially when you're rebuilding a team and a new head coach that wants his guys coming in. He's going to want guys from the 49ers. He's going to want guys that he knows and bring them in. They're not looking – the Jets, if you thought the Jets were going to be competitive this year, realistically, they could be. But realistically, thinking that they're going to be amazing this next season, you're wrong. I mean, it was not going to happen. Like that, it was not like you have to understand that this is a 2-14 team. There's going to be a lot of new faces. There's a new head coach coming in, and there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work at corner, edge rusher, like this entire offense. Like all this offense needs work. And now these splashy signings are not going to do it. We've tried that for years. It's not worked. You guys already know all the names. I'm not going to list them again. You guys know who I'm talking about. They have not impacted this team once. So, I mean, the Jets, I feel like this is the way that you need to do handle this offseason. Obviously, we're all anxious to know who's going to be on our team, what new players are going to be on this team. I get that part. But it's a long process. We just got the offseason started. There's still an entire free agency left. There's still a lot of guys available. I mean, if the Jets sign Galladay, everyone's going to love Douglas the moment that news breaks. I mean, that's what it's going to be. So you just got to wait until you see there's still a lot of guys. Jamal Williams, you got a couple edge rushers available. Carl Lawson could be a target for the Jets. He's a great pass rusher. You can get him. There's a lot of guys still available. You just got to trust and see if he can make a decision. Overreacting right now doesn't make sense. You can judge him after this offseason is over and how they do next season. That's where you're supposed to judge him. Right now, let him do his job, let him do his work, and just relax. Just relax.
Just relax is right. We got a $2 donation from Pierce. Did we win the offseason last year? We did not win the offseason last year because that was Joe Douglas. And What the reason why we had 2 wins last year, I think, is because of the coaching staff. So you're talking about Adam Gase, one of the worst coaches of all time, and he had to deal with a roster that honestly wasn't talented. And I think we're going into this year with a similar roster, but definitely improvements across the board. And we have a brand new coaching staff, and that's what it's going to come. That's what Joe Douglas wants. He wants to get a coaching staff in place that can take some players to another level when they haven't really played. And that's what Joe Douglas's confidence is in his long-term vision, is getting guys in the building that have really good work ethic, that hates to lose, wants to win, has a drive to be great, and are really good players on and off the field. And that's what they're trying to do. No, did we win last offseason? We did not. And did that work out? No, it did not. But we had Adam Gase coaching. So we got to give Joe Douglas another opportunity with his brand new coaching staff in place that he hired. So that's what I got to say about that. If you guys are trying to see, make sure I didn't miss anything in the stream in the So yeah, that's really what I got to say about this. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to sign off now. It's a 2-hour live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys did not subscribe to Jets Media, make sure you do so. I greatly appreciate it. And if you guys did not thumbs it up, also make sure you do that. This is a very fun live stream. We're going to go live a lot more often throughout the whole free agency process. So stay tuned for that. All 400 of you guys watching, I appreciate it. And again, if you guys disagree with what Jack, Ali, and myself are saying, that is totally okay. It's healthy to disagree. We all have our own opinions. So don't get a little butthurt if I say something you disagree with or vice versa, because I don't. So that really does it for this stream. A shout out to everybody in the chat for showing this stream a lot of love. It means a lot to me. Jets Media, I'm appreciating all my subscribers, everybody that showed me love from the beginning. It means the world to me. This is just the beginning. And, sit back and relax and let the whole offseason play out and try not to get too upset. And let's hope that we get some signings here on in the future where we can actually talk about. The only signing as of right now is Jarrad Davis. Am I a fan of that signing? Not really. I'll be completely honest with you guys because I never heard of the guy. So for those of you guys assuming I'm happy with the Jarrad Davis signing, I'm not. I'm not saying it's going to be a bust of a signing, but I'm not happy with the signing. So that really does it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.